Goresh. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Wednesday. This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios in beautiful New Jersey and Beverly Hills, California. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Scotty at SiriusXM Liquid Metal, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch, plus Twitter Space, I think.
You think?
On
Maybe,
Let's
possibly.
Go Devils Network. Yeah.
We might be. Who knows?
We might be.
It's chaos. It's complete pandemonium.
Before we begin.
Oh, okay.
I have to issue an apology to Beer Baron because I yelled at him because I couldn't figure out how to do the Twitter Space. So if you're listening out there, Beer Baron, I just want to tell you, Sam Wu was wrong for the first time, and you were right. And you were trying to help me. You were trying to help me. So I want to apologize to you, Beer Baron, because you did a good thing. You tried to help the podcast, and I thought you were just showing me garbage. But really, all I had to do was look at the picture and what you circled and how to do that. So I apologize to you, Beer Baron. I was an idiot, and you were the smart one. And this Twitter Space that you're listening to this podcast that's simulcasting is all because of Beer Baron. You get all the credit in the world.
For the first time ever.
I just wanted to get...
for the first time ever.
First time ever. Gotta get that out there.
It wasn't Nikki. It was actually Beer Baron. What do you know?
It was actually,
It can't happen. I just caught up with all these text messages. I saw there was a lot of F-bombs dropped, and that's usually not happening in our group chat. And I'm like, what is going on here? Woo! We got a lot to talk about. Hello, everybody. I'm Scotty, along with the great Sam Wu, here for Devils After Dark. Another special edition. The Bratt is back, baby. He's back, baby.
Yes.
Just like George Costanza when he eats that little piece of mango. I'm back, baby. I'm back. We're very excited. Jesper Bratt is back. We got a lot of things to talk about, but tell you the truth, because I am based here in Los Angeles, I want to give this shout out first because obviously it's been all over the news out here, but everywhere else. You know, us Devils fans, we're going to get a new lead announcer this year. You know, a new play-by-play man or woman for the team. And we're all very excited about that, even though we're going to miss Kanji, who was great. We still miss Doc Emmerich, who was great. We still miss Gary Thorne, who was great. We have been very, very lucky with our play-by-play calling, and unfortunately, we lost. You know, Doc is right up there, all time, any sport, but I do believe the greatest play-by-play man of all time, no matter what sport you're talking about, passed away last night by the name of Vin Scully. And, you know, there's been tributes all over everywhere here in Los Angeles, but I know back there on the East Coast, too, I've been informing many of my Dodger friends, including my wonderful girlfriend, my better half, who is a huge Dodger fan, that my team, the New York Baseball Mets, so I know Sam Wu is a big fan of, too. We did him a wonderful thing by allowing him to call the greatest moment in World Series history with "It Gets Through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it." One of the greatest calls of all time, Vin Scully, and one that, you know, you kind of forget about. He did the Hank Aaron home run call as well, and he just kind of let the crowd do all the work for him on that night. That's why you probably remember Hank Aaron rounding the bases, but you don't remember who was calling it because Vin was just letting the crowd tell the story. I don't know if there will ever be a voice or a man, because I never got to meet him, you know, working in some of these events and stuff like that. I never got to meet Vin Scully, but everyone said he was the nicest, kindest man, so down to earth, and would treat everyone exactly the same, no matter who you were. And I know every baseball player out there always wanted to go and meet Vin Scully and hope they can hit a home run in Dodger Stadium and get that Vin Scully, home run call added to their repertoire. So just want to put the horns up for the legend. And it's I don't know who you can say is better. Baseball, football. I mean, Vin did it all. He did it all.
He did it all.
But that voice and the way he used some of the most simple words to paint a beautiful picture, there really is no one else like Vin Scully. And just glad that he was there for that great call. It gets through Buckner. Here comes night, and the Mets win it. Pretty simple statements right there, but they will echo forever through the history of baseball and sports. And, of course, the great Kirk Gibson, well, look who's coming up. Just a simple thing like that will last forever, and it's every broadcaster's dream to be able to make calls like that. And like I said, us Devils fans, we've been spoiled. Gary Thorne, Kanji, and, of course, another legend who I said, I think you could put Doc up there as like greatest of all time across all sports. Because while Vin used that simple language, Doc just had every adjective under the sun, just like right like at the drop of a hat, he was able to just rattle them off. Two different completely styles, two incredible gentlemen who did their sports very proud, and who we miss on the call, Doc, but, Vin Scully now, we're going to miss as we lost him last night at 94 years young, we will say. And just a man who also, started in New York and made his way out to California, was really someone who helped transition that loss of the Dodgers in New York City, and having them transition out here to Los Angeles. No one quite like him. And Sam, I just wanted to turn it over to you real quick just to see if you had anything you wanted to say before we get into Mr. Bratt and our possible cap space crunch about the legend of Vin Scully.
I think when you talk about broadcasters, PA announcers, Vin Scully was less is more with his calls. It wasn't over the top. It was, but he had that buildup of a story. The New York Mets down in the bottom of the 10th inning, 1 out away from losing the World Series. But it's almost like he was told the story like he knew what the ending was. But at that moment, it was all doom and gloom. And when you do that type of broadcasting, and I'm going to even put in PA announcing there, sometimes less is more. And the way he built up that story, and then like behind the bag, it gets through Buckner.
Here comes night.
The
Mets win.
And the
That's
Mets
all
are
it was.
going to win it. And then all it was crowd noise. Think about Doc Emmerich. Henrique, it's over. And then it was all crowd noise. And it was just very Vin Scully-like, where let the crowd tell the story. It's not about me. I'm just the narrator. And and you can trust what I'm telling you. Not opinionated. It's just beautiful written story when you do these, kind of games, because now we have over the top stuff, I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Really. Yeah. I mean, I know for a fact that, I'm guilty of it.
But we love this.
Jesper Bratt, now signed for a year in the Devils lineup. But in all seriousness, people are actually laughing at what I'm putting out, because I'm just looking at the Twitter space. I just want to say hello to everybody on Twitter space.
Yeah,
I just
Twitter
figured
space,
this out.
YouTube, Facebook. Hello.
Yeah, hello. And eventually, I'd like to try this, to take a listener to talk to us. I don't know if it works, but
we'll
why don't we do it a
eventually
little
get there.
later? So
We'll eventually get there. But yeah, Vince.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yep.
And like you said, the simplicity that just echoes forever. I mean, just think about what he would say before every game. It's time for Dodger baseball. There's
Yep.
there's
That's it.
no big huge adjectives, no big over the top, no big rah, 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 like there's nothing to it. But there was something very special about the way Vince said it and the way he related to the crowds. It was just a part. I know Los Angeles kind of came to a halt last night out here where I am, and he's just a voice like none other, and definitely gonna miss him. Seeing him around. I go to a lot of Dodger games over here. I love Dodger Stadium and stuff. It's one of those classic ballparks that are still around. Don't worry, I'm not cashing in my Mets card. Don't you worry about that. But I just love baseball in general. And Vin is just an all-time legend, and we're gonna miss him. So just wanted to give him a shout real quick. As someone who's in broadcasting myself, that's my career over here. Just wanted to give the greatest ever his due. So thank you, Vin Scully, for being there, for calling that game in '86 and making that just a memorable. And I loved what you said. He did. He seemed like he already knew what was going to happen before it did.
Yeah, and it's also like building the hype. It was like building the hype without the hype. It was just kind of like, one thing led to another, piece by piece. The drama's building, but it wasn't about him. It was about the people. It was about the fans and what they witnessed. And you couldn't predict that. The Kirk Gibson 2 years later was like it's like, wow, 86, then 88. It's just amazing. But we have a lot of people.
It's becoming possible. He was just amazing. But good old Vin, always love him. Put the horns up to him, and any Mets fans out there, go ahead and just relive that game there in the '86 World Series. It's just I know I watched the call on YouTube a bunch of times last night. Mm-hmm. The full inning, just watching everything play out, and it was just absolutely incredible. So Vin Scully, Godspeed, and we're gonna miss you.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Bratt is back, baby. Jesper Bratt, something that we've been waiting on all off season here. We've had a lot of tension. What's going to happen? Is he going to resign? Is it going to be long term? Is it going to happen? Is it going to be arbitration? Oh, the Devils are at $4 million. Jesper Bratt's at $6 million. Where are they going to find themselves? Well, pretty much right where we were kind of expecting it. Quite honest with you, I think it's actually a little bit lower than what I was expecting, but right at the halfway point of where both the team and the player were trying to get to. Jesper Bratt signs for a 1-year, $5.45 million contract. And just for reference, Mangiapane up there in Calgary actually re-signed, Buchnevich, Manta, Verana, all in the same realm. And these are all guys that kind of like Jesper Bratt, they've had some good years and they've started to produce. And these contracts are all kind of in that same area, that high $5 million range, where I think Jesper Bratt, I think that's a fair price for him. I'm a little concerned because he might go out there and just Ric Flair, woo, his way to an 80, 90-point season this year. We can all hope, right? Which will end up costing the Devils even more. But I think it's a good what we've been seeing, a big show me contract. Prove it to me, Jesper. Because let's face it, Jesper Bratt was not a renowned prospect. We all know about his draft status. Not in the first round, not in the second round, not in the third round, not in the fourth, not in the fifth, the sixth round. Pick right there, a nice little diamond in the rough. We know he's a little bit undersized. That doesn't stop our Bratter, though, from mixing it up along the boards. We always talked about it. Jesper Bratt, enforcer here on Devils After Dark. We love the way he would get there. Although, Jesper, as we said, don't break any hands, punching people in helmets or anything like that. Though I do love your feistiness, kid. But I think this is a fair contract. a prove-it-to-me contract where we hopefully re-sign him for the long term coming, because I think he's got a really good rapport here with Jack Hughes that we saw. And let's face it, our team last year, it was wherever Jesper Bratt went, the offense followed. He was the key to our success. Jack going down at some points, Nico going down at a couple points. Wherever Jesper Bratt ended up, he seemed to light a fire on that line. And he's one of those players that makes the other people around him now, or at least last year, he made them better. Now, see, why is it so low? Why was there so arbitration? Because go back and look at the numbers. His first 4 years in the league, Jesper did not break 40 points. They're all in the 30s. And then all of a sudden last year, bam! What was it, 73? 73 points. I'll have to look it up to get the actual number there. You know what? I had it on here and then I closed it out. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 73 points last year. Can he produce that again? That is the idea. If he comes out again with a nice point total this year, you're going to see that $6 million contract and a long-term deal for Mr. Jesper Bratt, which I think is a good thing. Did they go to arbitration? No. And thanks, sweet Ozzy, who, of course, there he is looking over me. I don't know if you can see that on there. There he is right behind me. There's
camera
Ozzy.
Angles.
Yeah,
Wow.
camera angles. There he is, always looking over the Devils After Dark broadcast here right behind me. But I think that it was good that they did not go to arbitration. We've seen it in the past. Now, hopefully, Fitzy is not Lou Lamoriello in those arbitration meetings, and Scott Gomez and his dad trying to argue there, and Lou trying to tell him why Scott is not worth the money, and we end up losing him to the Rangers. Yeah, that's right, Joseph. Ozzy! Thank you, John. 73 points. I was correct. What do you know? The old brain cell came through on something there. So hopefully there was not any sort of, souring of the relationship between Jesper Bratt and the Devils. We know they are bringing in his younger brother for the preseason tryouts. It was tryouts, or is he getting like a juniors contract or something like that? I think they're bringing him in to see in the preseason. So we see that. We know the family type of stuff that we have going on here at the Devils, of course, with the Hughes brothers as well. I really like this contract. I think it motivates Jesper Bratt to go out there and really perform and really show. His teammates know, he knows, but show it to that management. I think us as fans, we see it. We've seen it like kind of growing and budding. The thing is sometimes the size got in the way. Sometimes the injuries got in the way, But now he's going to be 24. He's going to be 24 years old. He's a man. He's not an 18-year-old kid anymore. He's difference. A man now. That's right. He's a man
big
now.
Difference.
There is a big difference in that, and I am really looking forward. Little Brad has an AHL contract. Okay. Thank you, John. Possibly. We'll see. But I really like this for Jesper to go out there and show the management, show Fitzy, I am the real deal. You want me signed long term. I am a top guy. I'm a top 6 forward in the NHL, the most elite hockey league in the world. That's where I play. If I was Jesper Bratt, of course. I'm not even. I can't even play roller hockey anymore. Are you kidding me? But Jesper Bratt is going to go out there. If he stays healthy, you're going to see one hell of a year from him. And I think this was a very good deal. 5.45. It's not overpaying. I don't think it's underpaying. Like we're just talking about the Mangiapane, Buchnevich, Manta, other players that are right in there at that point levels. They're all in that high 5 type of range. I do believe Jesper, in the long run, will probably get something a little over 6 if he goes out there, stays healthy, and kicks some ass like he did last year. Now, this is very good news for the New Jersey Hockey Devils. But where else does that leave us? Bratt's back, baby. George Costanza with a piece of mango. He's back. He's back, baby. Okay, but we still have two other restricted free agents yet to sign. And that would be Miles Wood and Sam Wu's new personal favorite, Fabian Zetterlund. Now, we are only at $3.2 million left. Now it's down to 2? Or it was 3.2.
I think it's 3.2.
I'm going to bring up my cap friendly over here. I could have swore it said 3.2. Boom, boom, boom. We have 3.2 left in our current cap space. Is this creating a cap space crunch for us? Because we've talked about for so long now, oh, we have so much space. Oh, we can use this to our advantage. Oh, we have this space here. Oh, the Devils would be able to make that trade. Oh, the Devils would be able to sign that person if it happened. I know we were talking about Tkachuk for a while. Obviously, it didn't work out. Johnny Gaudreau, I know Beer Baron is still upset about that one. I'm glad it worked out the way it did. But you know, everyone's got their own opinions on it. But we've talked for a long time. Our cap space is one of our weapons. Now, we got some big contracts on there. However, don't worry, Devils fans, because Jonathan Bernier is not on the long-term injured reserve yet. And there's probably a very good chance that he is going to get moved onto that because he's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. And that would create an extra $4 million of space over here. He's on injured reserve. That's $4.1 million, and he is a UFA after this season. Also UFAs after this season, Thomas Tatar. That's $4.5 million right there. Andreas, don't call me Andre, Johnson. That's a $3.4 million. And then, of course, Eric Halla, who's only 2.3, which isn't a bad cap hit over there for him. But they're all UFAs at the end of this year, and they will be coming off, as well as our boy Damon Severson and Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves is only at 3.1. Damon Severson's at 4.1. And you know Damon is going to be looking for a hefty raise. Does the Jesper Bratt signing signal an end to Damon Severson on the New Jersey Hockey Devils? Because you know, both of them are going to be looking for probably 6+ coming up. Okay, and you have a Dawson Mercer still here. You have a Igor Sharangovich. You got to figure out what you're going to do with Jesper Boquist. And you have some other kids that are coming up. Alexander Holtz, if he plays out the way we think he's going to play out, he's going to be another one who's got a high contract. All right. You got Simone Nemec coming our way. We know he's got, a bunch of years left. He's only an 18-year-old kid. But eventually you're going to have to find space for him. A Riley Walsh. Does this signal the end of Damon Severson in the New Jersey Devils? As a New Jersey Devil, I should say. No moves just yet, but you got to think that Fitzy's out there kind of working some stuff. Because we're getting pretty close to that cap space. Miles Wood, I believe, was in the 3s. I got to go back to last year's cap because it doesn't have it listed this year for cap friendly because he's technically an RFA right now. But he's going to be looking for in the millions. Fabian Zetterlund has produced pretty well at the AHL level. And is he going to get a contract around the $1 million level, or are they going to have him in the 6 figures instead? These are two guys that need to be signed. They're getting a little tight with that cap over there. Where we thought we had all this space, it's starting to fill up. These are things that are going to happen. Fitzy has got to be very, very smart about these moves. We can't just go freewheeling, signing whoever we want, wherever we want. because we're not going to have that space anymore. We lost PK. That was huge coming off the books, but we've already spent that money here. And like I said, if Jesper Bratt goes out there and has himself a hell of a season, he's probably going to get a raise. He's going to be over $6 million. If Ryan Graves goes out there and absolutely pummels people all season long, he's going to get a pretty big raise from 3.1. He'll probably be up in the 5s. Do you want a Ryan Graves or do you want a Damon Severson? Maybe that's why Fitzy was smart to go out and get Marino, because he's locked in at 4.4 for the next 5 years.
Insurance policy. Total insurance policy. John Marino. But for this year, if you can keep Hamilton, Graves, Severson, Marino, all of them in the lineup, and take advantage of the entry-level contract of Simone Nemitz, this core could be something to talk about. Especially, you have Kevin Ball, other defensemen from Utica waiting. You've got that crazy guy, Nikita Ahoytuk, waiting.
That's my boy.
Where you need some beef. So, again, kudos to Fitzy. Now, when we were in the Gaudreau or Kachuk sweepstakes, everyone said, oh, we have a lot of money. We really didn't, because I think Fitzy already had a plan. All the salaries that were going to be earmarked.
Yes.
For which players?
And there's also one little variable that we need to bring up here. And, you look at a Jack Hughes at $8 million. You look at a Nico Hischier at 7.2. You look at Palat at $6 million. They're locked in those salaries. They're not increasing. However, on the defensive side, who was one of the standouts from last year that nobody was expecting to be that solid? We all know Jonas Siegenthaler also re-signed this year. And this season, he's at a very nice $1.1 million. But after that, he goes up to 3.4. So you got a little bit more of a hit there. Now, obviously, Bernier comes off the books, but then also Blackwood. You're going to have to find another goalie too. So Fitzy's got to get a little bit careful here with some of these deals. We can't just go and start freewheeling, spending all the money. You're going to hope that the salary cap at some point goes up, but we've seen it now stuck for quite some time. These salaries are going up. But the salary cap hasn't. That'll hit us pretty soon, and we'll hope to go up.
I just want to welcome those on Twitter Space just joining us. You are listening to Devils After Dark on the Let's Go Devils Network. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Scotty of SiriusXM Liquid Metal. We're also streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch. And I just want to welcome all those new listeners piling in, listening to our podcast about Jesper Bratt and the salary cap crunch. So we see all your comments on the YouTube
Give
Live.
us your feedback
we'll get
on
to them
it.
soon. Yeah, we want to hear your feedback and all. So
because we have to talk another one, Yegor Sharangovich. Right now, he's at a nice $2 million. He's going to be a restricted free agent after this year. Now, if Yegor goes out there and he has the potential, I don't know if he's going to or not, but Yegor has the potential to put up 25 to 30 goals. If he does that, he's also going to command a bit of a raise. So we have some things to start thinking about. We're all very happy with Jesper Bratt re-signing for this year. Like I said, I think we got a steal here, getting him under $6 million, because if he goes out there and he plays like that, he may be able to command quite the pretty penny, afterwards. He'll still be an RFA, but still. The arbitration process, we know how that goes. We would like to lock him up long term. Do you think this was a good play, doing the 1 year prove it to me? Or do you think the Devils should have said, to hell with it, let's try and lock him up for the long term right now? It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question because it could come back to bite us. Look at some, we were talking before about Vin Scully and everything like that. Look at, Aaron Judge over there on the Yankees. He bet on himself. And boy, is he going to get paid.
Oh, yeah.
Woo, baby,
isn't it amazing? If you bet on yourself, you're going to get paid. But the other flip side, what happened to Taylor Hall? He bet on himself. And this happened.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. So it's an interesting thing, but we have to be very, very careful here. Okay? We have a lot of prospects coming up. We can take advantage of those entry-level contracts and these restricted free agents, but now with those big three up top there locked in for at least the next 5 years, Palat, Nico, and Jack. Jack's locked up for 8, but Nico and Palat for the next 5. Dougie for the next 6. Marino, we know we got it a nice deal there, 4.4 for the next 5 years. Siegenthaler for the next 6. Vanacek's there for the next, 4? Or did he sign 3 years? He signed 3 years.
3 years.
Right? Yeah.
3 years, 3.4, I believe.
Yes. So we have to be a little careful here. We've talked many, many times, especially on this show, about our cap space and how we can use that as our own weaponize the cap space. Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. And this is what happens to teams. We have to be careful. Look at, the Blackhawks. Whoo, they turned into a disaster eventually. Now, they won 3 cups, so, you got to give them that. But you knew once they signed Taves and Kane to those massive contracts, everybody knew at some point those were going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And Duncan Keith as well. You knew. Corey Crawford. Oh, thanks, Corey.
And you saw what Palat got for being a winner. Those those are big. Sometimes players have to leave. Palat did his time in Tampa, 2 cups, almost 3. He made himself a valuable commodity. And the New Jersey Devils were in desperate need of leadership and that type of player. And they had to overpay a little bit. But that's part of the territory. This is why you always keep your pipeline in your farm system flowing. You never have a disruption in that pipeline because it's going to cost you in the end. And you saw what that did with the New Jersey Devils after 2012. That pipeline was dry. Then you had a change in ownership and leadership. And then it was the rebuild 1.0. Practically, let's see,
2.0, 3.0,
Zaka
4.0.
Zaka is out. Unless you're a
Zaka's
first
gone.
overall pick, we're not so sure about Mikey McLeod at the situation right now. But Ty Smith is gone. It's only Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, really. These are ratio picks that are really left, and they're all first overall. So, rebuilds are not 100%, right.
No,
you may have
absolutely
to do a redo.
not. And I want to point this out too, because I've seen a lot of Fitzy detractors out there. Of all of the players that we have let go, that we have bought out, that we have not re-signed, only one, as far as I know, is signed in the NHL. And that's Studenic. He's the only one that slipped away. Yanni Kuokkanen, Switzerland. I just saw old Nick Merkley, KHL. Someone else that we just had recently also signed in the KHL. I can't remember who. A lot of those guys that, because I'll be honest with you, I liked what I saw from Kuokkanen. I was a little surprised when he got bought out. But then, no other team re-signed him. And he's going to be playing in the Swiss League next year. So Fitzy has made some smart plays. It seems like the only one that really kind of slipped through the cracks there was Marion Studenic, who I believe Dallas resigned.
Or Scott Wedgwood.
Or Scott Wedgwood, yeah.
Boy,
Louis
if only
Domingue,
we had.
what the hell? Louis Domingue, where did you come from over there? Man, unbelievable. Well, goalies a different story. We'll talk about forwards and defensemen. Goalies obviously a different story with Fitzy. We haven't had some good luck on the goalie side of things.
Well, I'll tell you what. If
Vanacek, we're hoping that clears
becomes
that
a number one goaltender, if he becomes a solid number one goaltender, that trade we'll be looking at a couple of years down the road. Like, wow, he just flipped a pick, a second round pick, flipped a switcheroo, and then just give up a third round, and then sign him for an affordable $3.4 million for 3 years. Now it's just up to Vitek Vanacek to prove himself, and then don't forget about Mackenzie Blackwood, Mac Black.
Yes,
I'm not counting on it, but there is a good possibility we may have the complete opposite happy problem of two goaltenders. Who do you play? The hot one? When, maybe the new coach, Ryan Gillis? Is that his name? I forgot his name. Just, if he fixes that defense, and then you have a goaltending tandem of 1A and 1B, and you've got the big defense.
Yeah. Well,
I'm thinking Dan McGillis, but it's Ryan. Yeah, okay.
Close, but no.
Anyway.
Defense.
Because they both played on the Flyers. No. That's why.
Yeah. And that is actually something I wanted to talk about as well, because we haven't got to talk about that. Tice Thompson, by the way, also resigned. So that's nice to see. But Miles Wood and Fabian Zetterlund are going to be the next two big dominoes to fall on this team. And we need Miles Wood on this team. I think he's going to be a very important piece. Who am I just seeing over here on the old YouTube? I just saw someone talk about it, about a Lucic type of player. He's going to have to go out there and put that body to work. And as we said before, now we got to see where he really stands after this hip, but Miles Wood has always had a tremendous amount of speed to his game for a big player. We know when he first came in there, I didn't know if he was going to be able to stop at sometimes. I think he just kind of like ran face first into the boards to stop himself at times because he was going so fast. But now he can control that speed a little bit more. He is someone who can play up there with the Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes and can keep up speed-wise. We will see. Used to. We will say used to for now. We'll have to see when he comes back from this injury. But just some thoughts right here. I see Anthony thinks that, Fitzy overpaid a little bit for Bratt. John thinks it's a show-me contract. I think that as well.
Well, Bryce Salvador concurs.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. That was Josh.
He concurred on that this is a win-win because he didn't go to arbitration, so nobody's feelings got hurt. It's a mutual agreement. It's a show-me contract because Bratt does retain arbitration rights after this upcoming season. From what I understand, I think it's a win-win-win for everybody. Now we want the happy problem of having to pay Jesper Bratt because that means he's close to 100 points a season. He had 73 last season.
And you also have to keep this in consideration. If Jesper Bratt goes out there, well, no, he's an RFA. So he's not a UFA. So he can't really just go and walk. So, but he's an RFA again. But can we buy out some of that time and get him locked in? Is that something we want to do as well? Like we're talking about.
This is great. This is great for Tom Fitzgerald because he can sit there and watch the first half of the season, and come January 1 of 2023, he's going to have strategically planned. Now, if Jesper Bratt is a flop, okay, there's not much to do here. But if Jesper Bratt is on a tear in the first half of the season And he's remaining that consistency. He's the leader of the team. Everybody loves him. The crowd's chanting his name. You could offer him a big contract, a big payday mid-season. And they've done that before. They've done that before with Nico and Jack and surprised us. And
again, we'll have some money coming off the books next year, like we talked about with our UFAs, like Tatar, like Janssen, Damon Severson, Ryan Graves, although I don't want to see those two defensemen. I don't want to see both of them walking out the door. But this is Kyle over here on the YouTube's got a good point. We're going to have to take advantage of some of those ELCs coming our way. Luke Hughes, Holtz, although Hughes won't be this year. Nemec, though, I won't be that shocked if he makes the team out of camp. Really won't be. Stillman, Nolan Foote. What's going to happen with Nolan Foote? That was I believe that was the Pickles trade. I think Nolan Foote from Tampa Bay for Blake Coleman.
Correct.
A lot of hype around him, and we haven't seen too much at the professional level yet. Him and Holtz, from what we have seen, it seems like the game was a little too fast for them just yet. Do they still need more time at that AHL level? Well, they're going to get it because, I think that's why Fitzy went out there and made some of the moves that he did, just to be sure. Now, in case you're wondering, I believe it is only Janssen who has a no trade, no movement clause in his contract. Thanks, Toronto. Damon Severson does not. Ryan Graves does not. Tatar does not. Hall does not. Palat does. No movement clause. Jesper Bratt does not. Nico, Jack Hughes, they're not going anywhere. But those are the ones that don't. Dawson Mercer's got 2 years left. And then he's going to be commanding a raise.
So he's going to command a big raise.
He's going to command a big raise.
And you never know. Some of these players that are on the border where it's like you can't fit them on the team, but they're a great player, and you're going into the playoffs and you need a defenseman or you need a power forward that comes available. Suddenly these assets, and I hate to use players and call them assets because they are human beings, but what I'm talking about in trading terms with other teams right before the NHL trade deadline, you want to have that pipeline full because you can make a trade to get a player that's on the last year of their contract, but they can add that scoring depth or add that beef or add that physical play going into the playoffs, or getting maybe a Patrick Maroon, somebody that seems to be on a cup-winning team lately.
Again,
so
you're gonna bring Maroon back just for the chances that he'll go back to the Cup one more time again. It's all Patrick Maroon does is go to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to everyone on Facebook Live as well. I see Nick and Matt and Ryan. Kane's contract isn't a problem. Well, now it isn't because they're getting rid of other people. But where were the Blackhawks? Not so good last year. Not so good last year. And don't forget, Patty Kane is what, 32, 33? And they're looking at it like an albatross. He's not that old. He's not like 37, 38. Got to be careful with those $10 million contracts right now. Until that cap hit goes up, it's tough. It's tough putting them all in there. You look at that Dougie Hamilton, $9 million a year. He's locked up with us for quite some time. You want to move him? You may have to eat some of that contract as well. Now, I'm sure a Marino or a Jonas Siegenthaler down the road might be pretty attractive, Larry David style, to some other teams at their prices. As some of our prospects come up, you may be able to move some of those guys as well. I'm sure Fitzy is, thinking about those sort of things. And listen, let's not forget, every year, injuries happen. There's no way this entire team is making it through the season without someone getting hurt. It's the laws of physics. It's going to happen. Someone is going to get hurt on the team, and that's going to create an opportunity for someone else to step in there and play. And if they play well enough, do you get taken out of the lineup? Some players are so good, they give you no reason to take them out. I know someone was talking on YouTube over here about Fabian Zetterlund can bench this entire podcast. Hey, is he going to be the next one that just plays so well that there's no way you can take him out of the lineup? Or does it become an attractive trade piece as well? I don't know. We shall have to see. But we do want to talk about the hire of the assistant coach, Ryan McGill, who's been in Vegas since the old Golden Knights started. And they've had quite a few young defensemen be groomed by Coach McGill over there. So I think this was a very, very nice hire. I know, who is it on Facebook that was just saying, I just read it over there. Matt Freudenberger. Oh, Matt. It's a very nice hire, especially considering our young defensive corps that we've been talking about. How many right-handed defensemen we got now in the pipe coming up? Luke Hughes. It's going to be nice.
Ethan Edwards of Michigan, and
Seamus
also,
Casey.
Yeah.
And by the way, I should mention this as well, because I know someone else shouted out as well. The old Kovalchuk hit stops 3 years from now, but also Corey Schneider's buyout. We only have 2 more years of Corey Schneider's buyout, and that's at $2 million per. So that is also some extra money that we will be getting back that we can possibly use for some of these upcoming players. So there is ways around it, but for right now, there is a little bit of a squeeze going on there. And especially when you have someone like a Damon Severson, who, much like we might see with Simone Nemec, coming in as an 18-year-old. I remember when Damon came in, boy, he looked like a young kid. And now he's growing into a leader and a man on this team. Is he going to get priced out? He might. Do they move Bernier to a long-term injured reserve to free up some money right now to get Zetterlund and Miles Wood under contract? Does Miles Wood get a raise from the $3.5 million that he was making last year? Does he stay the same? Does it go down a little bit? These are little things that Fitzy's going to have to wheel and deal. And, we're withholding judgment until we see all the facts come in on the situation with the CHL players. But we know there is a possibility that, Michael McLeod might have been involved in this. We know he's one of the players up there. We have not heard from him, his agent, or anyone else about this. And you got to think that Fitzy's been involved with that situation, and the investigation's going on as well. So that could be a bad reason why he has been, delayed maybe in some of these other negotiations that are going on. Miles Wood arbitration date is the 6th. It's either the 5th or 6th of August. So that's coming up next. I believe Zetterlund is the last one on the 8th or 9th.
No, Tice Thompson is already done. I don't think
Tice Thompson's already done.
Yeah,
he's not on the list.
I don't think he is.
Is he not on there? Oh, okay. I thought he was on the arbitration list as well. I could be incorrect with that.
I could be wrong, but I thought it was Tice Thompson you're thinking about. He's already
Tice. Yeah,
he got what he wanted.
Tice definitely was. Yeah, Tice definitely was. Where is Zetterlund on here? Oh, he's probably down. Oh, that's right, because he's probably still got an AHL contract. Yes. No, he is an RFA. He is an RFA. So Miles Wood will probably be the next one up to bat. What can I say? My brain cell went 1 for 2 today. Hey, batting 500. That's Hall of Fame numbers right there. But what's that gonna be for Miles Wood? Because like I said, right now we're at 3.273 projected cap space. Our cap hit right now is at 79.2. You got 21 to 23 players signed. Lots of moves. Lots of moves still going to happen here.
I don't want to be mean by saying this, but Jonathan Bernier's contribution to the team would be just not to come back because you need that cap space. And I don't want to be rude because if you could just stick him on there, it's like, look, John, just enjoy your money. Enjoy rehab. Take your time. You're probably going to get another big fat contract somewhere else.
No rush, Johnny. No rush. Take your time. We want to make sure.
If you want,
healthy.
we can put you on the. I don't know, the Bobby Bonilla plan. We don't pay you. We'll pay you in increments for the next 25 years. Stuff like that. But just don't come back.
Just don't come back. I mean,
and I'm only doing that for cap. Look, if the Devils need Jonathan Bernier to come back, that means both of our goalies suck, or both of them are hurt. So we don't want that either. But I'm going to tell you, with Jonathan Bernier, he's going to need time to recover and heal.
Oh, definitely.
And he may not come back just because those type of goaltenders, it's very hard. And we saw it with Corey Schneider. And the fact that Corey Schneider stuck with it last year tells you the kind of player Corey Schneider is. He didn't give up on himself because he could have easily retired. Corey Schneider, but he wants to play.
Kevin corrected me there. Zetterlund is 22, so no arbitration. So thank you about that. And Kyle as well. No arbitration for Zetterlund. I was getting him confused with Tyce Thompson.
Which his deal is not bad. Yeah. The first year is a two-way. It's kind of like prove yourself, and then the year after is prove yourself. You're on a one-way contract with the New Jersey Devils. So, with that said, it's like Fitzy is creating an environment of a win-win scenario for both the team and the player, and it's up to you to prove yourself. Bratt, Tyce Thompson. If you look at how they're structured, and then he rewards players like Siegenthaler with a nice contract.
Very nice contract. I mean, and like we said, this year it's a small cap hit. It's only 1.1, but then it goes up into the 3 millions after that, which is really nice for Siegenthaler, who is probably going to be a mid to bottom pairing there. When all things stack up here on the team. But Damon Severson is going to be an attractive trade piece, I think, for a lot of teams. We know the Vancouver Canucks were looking at him last year. Some other teams as well. It's going to be unfortunate to see him go because I feel like Damon he's come a long way since he was an 18-year-old kid. And we've talked about it here on the show. When the miracle happened, the 1-for-1, Larson for Taylor Hall there, the Devils said, we're going to be in the Damon Severson business. Because Larson was, 2 years older than him at the time, And Larson came in as an 18-year-old rookie as well and, was playing those minutes. So it may be kind of a sad day for Damon Severson, but he may end up on a very good team. And it may be a good thing for him. And we would wish him all the best, of course, as long as he doesn't go to the New York Rangers. If you go to the Rangers, then I hate you, Damon. I'm sorry. But anywhere else, it's okay. Flyers, I'll be pretty upset. I'll be upset. I won't hate you, but I'll be upset. Rangers, I'm sorry, Damon. Can't do that.
But if he goes to the Rangers and he brings his butt puck, I'd be.
Well, if he butt pucks on the Rangers, then yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. That's his contribution to the New Jersey Devils, even though he's not in the uniform.
It's Devils After Dark here. Scotty and Sam Wu. Let's Go Devils Podcast Network. Hit us up here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter page. Let us know what you think here. What we're going to do in this next season. I can't wait to get 100-plus forward and a top 2 LD for JB. Well, we'll see about that, Tony. We'll see about that. Josh, losing confidence in Blackwood, I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way. He shows those moments of brilliance, but no consistency, much like our good friend Pavel Zacha, which we know he was tight with the team. I know Nico and Jesper and him were really close, but it was that inconsistency that really did him in.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't put it together for long stretches of time. And that's the reason why he's up in Boston right now. And I do believe he actually filed for arbitration as well. I don't know if that got resolved or not. But it's going to be interesting. We're happy that Jesper Bratt got signed. Personally, I don't think it's a bad deal. I honestly have a feeling we might end up paying a lot more next year because, if I was Jesper Bratt, I would be beyond motivated. I'd be in the gym. I'd be out at that rink. I would just be hustling, working, and ready to show the entire NHL that I have arrived. I am on the scene. I am not a 30-point player. I'm not an undersized 30-point player. I am a top 6 guy who's going to give you 80 points and make all the players around me better. That's what I'd be thinking if I was Jesper Bratt.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out, Sam Wu. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
Real soon, just a couple months away. Less than 2 now, right? What's the first day? I can't remember what the first game for the Devils is, but we're just about 2 months away now. We're in freaking August 13th. Already. October 13th. Okay.
Down in
Little
Philadelphia.
More than 2 months away. Oh, the Philadelphia Flyers. I hear Sam Wu might be down there for that game.
I may be down there.
I may be
hitting up Julie Robenheimer as well.
We'll see.
I already inquired about tickets. I want to pick her brain. Miss New Jersey 2005. Pick her brain about hockey.
And here on the Let's Go Devils Podcast Network, we're going to be doing Game Day Live with Vinny Parisi before every game. Vinny and Sam. And then yours truly, me, Scotty, and Sam will be back after every single game, Devils After Dark. We're going to have some of these preseason action. When the camp's officially open, we'll do some more. Anything we can find an excuse for to do a nice podcast so we can talk some Devils hockey. We're going to do it because I know we haven't been on here for a while. I know I was traveling. I had to do the Red Hot Chili Peppers this weekend at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles.
You're not supposed to say that. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was on suspension.
You were suspended.
I was suspended.
You were a shock jock.
Suspended. I was suspended. I was suspended from the podcast. I wasn't at the show. By the way, $80 to park at that friggin' place, man. Ugh.
Really? Are you serious?
$80. Wow. Yeah. Wow. $80. And someone told me for the football games, it's $100. It's $110. That's what I heard. I was like, are you
serious?
Kidding me? Yeah. I was like, wow. And they didn't even have an escalator down to the field. So I was down in the pit, like right by the stage over there. And we had to walk down like the old style, like the old ramps all the way down, like 6 flights.
No, were you working the concert? Were you working the concert?
I was working, yeah. I was there working for it. But then, after you're done working, you get to go and see the concert. So I finished up just in time for about the Chili Peppers to begin. And then I got in and saw Flea and Chad Smith rip it up there. And John's back in the band. Good to see him on the guitar. So They played a lot of randoms because, LA is just a hometown show for them, but they still got a ton of hits. So, it was still a good show in the end, man.
That's
but
awesome.
I was suspended. Yeah. I was suspended.
2 shock jocks
call.
On the Let's Go Devils podcast.
I thought it was a boarding call. I got a 5-minute major in a game misconduct, and then I was in the Cup Finals, Bernier style. Oh boy!
If people don't understand this inside joke, a couple people complained about Scotty and Beer Baron, and there was nothing to it. And it's like, what do you want us to do? Suspend them? And then we start joking around.
Yeah, and by the way, for anyone who was listening, like we said, maybe you missed it, but we are reserving judgment on the Michael McLeod situation until we get the full information. I posted some links about what's going on, some information, but I am not accusing anyone or calling for anyone to be, removed for the team until after we figure out what exactly happened and who is exactly responsible for what is going on. If you don't know, you can go ahead and Google the CHL case that's going on up there in Canada. All we know is that Mikey McLeod, he hasn't released a statement on it where many other players have. That's not an admission of guilt. We would like to, figure out what's happening, but we're going to wait for the investigations to make their way through everything. And I'm sure Fitzy is being very thorough in his background checks here of what's going on.
I'm sure he's well aware, and he's paying attention to it.
Oh, yes. Not only is it being investigated up there in Canada, Gary Bettman has put in his own investigation as well. So that's 2 of them going on for this. So one way or another, we're going to find out. We really hope. We don't want to see Mikey McLeod involved. But if it does happen, then there will be obviously consequences to come. But we're not going to put any judgment on anything yet until, the facts from the case, are released and get out there to us.
Yeah.
So if there was any sort of misunderstanding and that sort of thing, that's what I know I was saying, that I am not judging on them. Because I've seen other people and I'm not naming names, and they're completely right to their opinion and whatever. But I've seen other people elsewhere, have said things already, and that's their right to do it. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait, and Sam Wu's going to wait, and we're going to see how it plays out first before we make any sort of judgments on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's not a good situation. It's a sucky situation,
not at all.
And we really hope hockey cleans it up, because like they like to say, hockey is for everyone. So let's make it for everybody.
Yep. All right, Scotty. I think we covered.
I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
We should wrap it up. I think that's all the news going on. Tice Thompson, Jesper Bratt, Miles Wood coming up next. So hopefully we get Miles signed. We'll do another Devils After Dark to see where we stand cap-wise, to see if we move Bernier to long-term injured reserve. And, of course, that big one with McGill. Look forward to that, having Ryan McGill as that assistant coach there to lead those defensive corps. I mean, it's going to be good. He developed a lot of good young talent there in Vegas, and we got a lot of good young talent coming here in the New Jersey Hockey Devils. So that's a good man to have on our squad, along with Andrew Burnett. Those are 2 good associate coaches, not assistant, associate. So thank you, everyone, for listening to Devils After Dark. I'm Scotty, Sam Wu. Let's Go Devil Podcast Network. Sam, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, everybody. Till next time, let's